Chief of the Defense Staff and Commander of the Army, Chief of Staff, Principal Staff Officers, the Chairman of the National Steering Committee, Guinness World Record, twin Major Generals who are at the verge of joining the pages of the history of the Guinness Records, distinguished senior officers and gentlemen, good morning. It is ironical and significant, even in the world history, to identical twin brothers to become the most charismatic personalities in the pathway of life. However, twin brothers to become major generals in the same date on their birthdays make this even more extraordinary. I have the pleasure and honor of welcoming the Chief of the Defense Staff and Commander of the Army, Lieutenant General Shavendra Silva, WWV, RWP, RSP, VSV, USP, NDC, PSC. Chief of Staff, Principal Staff Officers, and all the other distinguished senior officers and the officials in this historic event of handing over important documents to the Guinness Record officials. Distinguished senior officers, Major General Puraka Seniviratne and Jayantha Seniviratne were born in Ratnapura, Sri Lanka on 6th September in 1965 to beloved father, late Mr. Janasiha Seniviratne, and mother, Mrs. Leela Seniviratne. After passing many hurdles in the pathway of the early life, these identical twin major generals were enlisted to the regular force in Sri Lanka Army as an officer cadets to the Intake 22 on 1st November 1985 together. Hopefully, this may be the first instance where the identical twin brothers who enlisted together to the Army as officer cadets and gradually promoted to the ranks until reaching the milestones of the rank of Major Generals on the same day. Distinguished senior officers, may I now have the honor and pleasure to invite the Chairman of the National Steering Committee, Guinness World Record, the Chairman of the National Sports Museum and Presidential Sports Award Sri Lanka, Mr. Saman Amarasinghe, to deliver an introductory speech to commence today's proceedings.
Good morning, gentlemen, and also ladies. Commander of Sri Lanka Army, Lieutenant General Shavendra Silva, two Major Generals, H.P. Seniviratne and H.J. Seniviratne, Deputy Registrar of the Department of Registration, I might take little time for you to understand what do you mean by Guinness World Record. Guinness World Record is to inspire people, individuals, families, schools, teams, and groups, irrespective of their age or nationality or the country. They want to inspire to come from reading, watching, listening to, and participating in record breaking. The founder of the Guinness World Record, Sir Hugh Beaver, once attended a shooting party and the host had argument with him on the fastest bird in the world. There was no record as such to confirm the bird who is fastest in the world. So at the end of this argument, he thought of preparing a book which will be accepted by the world as official record book. This was in 1954. Thereafter, they started this institution in a small gymnasium for the benefit of people who want to create world records. Ladies and gentlemen, Major General H.P. Seneviratne and Major General H.J. Seneviratne, 3 weeks ago when they walked into my office, my first impression was I couldn't identify who is HP and who is HJ. Both had military mustache, which will fear you, but later on I found the smile under the mustache is friendly and gentleman type. So Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs, as advised by the Honorable Minister and on the directive of the Secretary, Mr. KDS Ruan Chanda, we are pleased for the first time in the history of Sri Lankan, the official committee appointed to look into the Guinness World Record, having the inaugural function at the newly built Army headquarters, a brainchild of His Excellency Gotabaya Rajapaksa. So while thanking the Chief of Defence Staff and the Commander of Sri Lanka Army, allowing us to have this historic function at the Army headquarters, and I wish both the generals a happy service life at the Sri Lanka Army and to make this historic record for the Guinness World Record. Thank you very much.
And may I now have the honor and pleasure to invite the Chief of the Defence Staff and Commander of the Army, Lieutenant General Shavendra Silva, WWV, RWP, RSP, VSV, USP, NDC, PSC, to deliver an overview on the military career of these twin Major Generals in this historic event. Over to you, sir.
Mr. Sabha Namarasinghe, the National Steering Committee Chairman for Guinness World Record in Sri Lanka, and officials of the National Steering Committee and the Ministry of Sports, the Chief of Staff of the Sri Lanka Army, Principal Staff Officers, two gentlemen who are about to set a world record, General Jayantha Seneviratne and General Puraka Seneviratne, directors, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. I'm happy to witness and to be present here today at a time when two officers of the Sri Lanka Army is about to set a record, world record, and to get into the famous, well-known Guinness record. As the compeer just mentioned, two generals, Puraka and Jayantha, who was born in the famous Ratnapura area, having studied at Sivali College, Ratnapura. I'm sure that both parents of these two gentlemen would have been so great to see that both children are being sent to one of the greatest organizations in this country, Sri Lanka Army, at a very crucial time of its history. In an era where the people of this nation was not sure about a tomorrow, in an era where people were living in fear without knowing whether you will live for tomorrow or whether your family members will live for tomorrow. At a time where most of the parents were thinking how to protect their children, but hats off to their parents deciding that is called patriotism, true patriotism, where they really want to see these twins are sent to Sri Lanka Army. They are not sent to two organizations. We had Army, Navy and Air Force, if at all, if we really want to say. That is also it's something they have been together from the beginning, from the time they were born. I'm not sure as to what is the difference between few minutes of these two. However, they wanted to keep them together. So thereby, Puraka and Jayant joined the Sri Lanka Army in latter part of 1985. And having enlisted to the Sri Lanka Army, they were sent to Sri Lanka Military Academy, the most prestigious military institution where we train the officer cadets to become officers of this country, to become a commissioned officer of the Sri Lanka Army in this country. Both were trained with Officer Cadet Intake 22, and they passed out in 26 July 1986 as second lieutenants. As commissioned officers, President's Commission were awarded to these two gentlemen to be officers of the Sri Lanka Army. Since then, both of them, although parents have kept them together, the army had put them apart, fortunately or unfortunately. Both were not sent to the same regiment due to would have been the lack of vacancies or with the foresight by then leaders decided to enter them to two different regiments of the army. One joining a great fighting outfit, namely Singha Regiment, the other, the younger, joining the Signals Corps. It is also very vital, as you know, everything depends on communication. So he was sent to Signals Corps. Since then, both of them have got involved everywhere where we had a war in this country nearly 26 years, close upon to 3 decades. Both of them have, although not been together, I wonder whether they have been together in any formation, but being in the army together, those who have grown up together at home, they were grown up in the army from second lieutenant till date, up to date. They have a contribution to this country to bring peace to this nation is unmeasurable for both. Jayant, being from a fighting outfit, fought throughout in all types of operations that was conducted in this country. He would have had the opportunity, I'm sure, although I have not gone through the total records. Being an infantry officer, it's very difficult for one person to get out of the field, except for maybe on a small, short period time, on a ERE, on attachment. But he would have been throughout in the field, fighting throughout, giving the best of his life to the army as a whole, to the nation. Puraka the same. Puraka is a very popular, outstanding shooter. He's a sniper. And Puraka has been excelling, not only in the war, but also in the sports, where he was in the national team doing firing. So this is how they have come. And year 2018, August, then commander, then army headquarters, the boards decided that they fulfill all the qualifications to become a major general in this organization, and both were promoted. Since then, on that date, I am sure they would have decided that they also must consult your organization, National Steering Committee, as it's not an easy thing to join the army, more than anything to live. Live for 35 years in the army while fighting a war for 36 years. Of course, they were involved for 34 years, like out of this time, of which till 2009. Survival was difficult. A man to survive, to be alive. So I'm sure that they were fortunate enough while fighting. They were fortunate enough to be there, live, and come up to the ranks of Major Generals, which is a very prestigious appointment. Only very few numbers can be a Major General in Sri Lanka Army. All what I would like to tell is that they have contributed immensely, and they deserve, in order to at least salute their parents who gave a birth to these twins, to reciprocate the parents for deciding to send them to the army. I am sure, although you wish them a long, great military life, they have a very short period in the army. They are supposed to retire on the 6th of September. And we, as the officers of the army and the main members of the Sri Lanka Army, we are happy and we congratulate you for your success. On behalf of each and every member of this organization, I take this opportunity to salute the parents of Jayantha and Puraka for deciding to send them to the army. Then, to both of you, for doing all good to this organization. And I wish both of you the very best, the short span that you have in the army and thereafter. And I wish that you will have a very happy life. I also take this opportunity to thank Mr. Saman Amarasinghe and his team for every effort that you would have put in. You don't just get things like this to Guinness Book, I'm sure that you and your team would have assisted the best possible way to see that this record is set up. So, on behalf of all members of this great organization, the Sri Lanka Army, I would like to thank Mr. Saman Amarasinghe and your team for all the support that you gave for these two gentlemen and to the Army to set up a world record today. Thank you.
Chief of Defence Staff and the Command of the Army, Lieutenant General Shavendra Silva, WWV, RWP, RSP, BSV, USP, NDC, PSC, the Chairman of National Steering Committee for Guinness World Record, and also the Chairman of National Sport Museum, Mr. Saman Amarasinghe, Assistant Registrar General, Mrs. Dilhani Ganepal, Chief of Staff, senior officers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I feel and consider this is as an honor for me to deliver this speech, a vote of thanks in this forum on behalf of my twin brother and myself. Ladies and gentlemen, as we are aware, mostly everyone born in this globe has different skills and talents. However, few are born with exceptional ability and different fate of specialties. So, my twin brother and me, we are twins, and we are twin sons of our well-loving parents, late Mr. Janasiya Seneviratna and Mrs. Leela Senevira. We born together, we were schooling together, and also we did all the extracurricular activities in the school together, and we left the school together. And after school, we applied, we got selected, and we joined this respectable army together. And also we trained and passed out as second lieutenant together. During the whole journey of military career, we got promoted from the second lieutenant up to major generals together. And also, we are to retire from this honorable or respectable service together. This specific venture is a tremendous and unique journey for both of us by having differentiated from many others caused by a togetherness as identical twins in all the achievements today. Thus realize a possibility to claim it as a world record. In preparation, it was also another challenge. However, it was possible with the great assistance and kindness of many others who contributed immensely, expecting the success of this effort. Therefore, I, together with my twin brother, wish to take this opportunity to extend our sincere gratitude and appreciation to the Chief of Defence Staff and the Commander of the Army, Lieutenant General Shavendra Silva, for gracing this occasion amidst of his busy schedule, and also willingly certifying the documents of proofs from the perspective of Army, while encouraging us on this endeavor. And also, I must thank the Chief of Defence Staff and the Commander of the Army for his kindness and warm appreciation and the congratulatory speech made by his during his speech. And also, we know, we are very much aware that he has cancelled some of the other events, giving the preference, giving the priority in attending this event. Thank you very much. Also, we would like to pay our gratitude to Registrar General for certifying our birth certificates to the Board of Parents. And also, we wish to extend our heartfelt appreciation to the Chairman National Steering Committee for Guinness World Record, Mr. Saman Amarasinghe, for his throughout dedication, direction and guidance. Our sincere thanks also goes to Dr. Lal Ekanayaka, who initially guided us on this endeavor. Also, we wish to pay our gratitude to Director Media and Director Information Technology for arranging the live media coverage and necessary skill stamps. I wish to thank the Military Secretary, Director Personnel Administration, Provost Marshal, Commanding Officer of Headquarter Battalion, and the military assistants and their staff for tremendous contribution to arrange this ceremony as a beautiful and attractive one. Also wish to thank Brigadier Mahesh Abhiratna and the staff officer of Security Force Headquarters West for their untiring effort in coordinating all the matters from the day one to the last minute of this endeavor. And finally, wish to thank all who assisted in numerous ways for this endeavor, and also wish to thank all the officers and distinguished guests who present here today. Dear sir, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we wholeheartedly appreciate all of your greatness and kindness with this bench. Thank you very much.